They're trying to make it a
problem,
misdirect.
isn't it? Because I feel like it would have been a fresh idea to be like, Ghost Dad, he's going through walls.
Ghost Dad.
He's going through doors.
Weeknights on
Dad's
ABC.
been through a lot lately. Oh, wait. You don't know Ghost Dad? You don't know fucking Ghost Dad.
Ghost Dad.
Look.
I knew what that was.
He's walking through doors. He's falling through floors. He's going through a lot lately, but he's still Dad. It's Ghost Dad. Hello. Welcome to this very low energy episode of Press Any Key. It's episode 120. You can find all of our social media down below and join our conversation not only in the comment section, but in our Discord, which is also linked below. With me, as always, is my co-host, Nick McFly. Everyone give it up for Hey Gingy on the ones and twos.
Hey.
And
No Mike this week.
That's right.
He's back. He's been extradited again.
It happens. Where is he now?
He's back in his home of Roku City.
Okay.
He's on trial.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, listen, you could only run from the law for so much.
Yeah.
They will catch you.
He's got good lawyers, so hopefully we'll have him back next week.
Who's that guy that was on the FBI's most wanted list for like 10 years? They found him recently.
Matt Damon?
The Golden State Killer?
Yeah, that's the one.
Jason Bourne.
Yeah, him,
Okay.
Golden State Killer. And then you can't corner the Dorner. That's the other big one.
Really?
Yeah, can't corner the Dorner. So, Bert, good luck. Yeah, what an intro.
He's keeping good company.
What when I die, that's who I want to be remembered beside. Pat Knapp, Chris Dorner. Two peas
I don't
in a
even know
pod.
who that is, but I know I'm not supposed to like him.
Oh, you don't know who Chris Dorner is?
Not off the top of my head.
All right, I'll tell you the story later.
Okay.
There's some controversy around it. So speaking of controversy, Nick, you know how much we love streaming services bringing video games to their platform.
Trying their hand at other types of entertainment.
See, the funny part is here that this is Google, so it's not like they
around.
can't put a link on their service to take you off their service because it is their service.
They own the internet.
So, Google hopes to make a feature dubbed Playables available on desktop and mobile. It's currently looking for employees to test the feature internally. Basically, YouTube is trying to get games added to their platform.
I'm assuming this will probably play out kind of like the games that are in Discord, the free games that I always fuck around on.
Yeah. I think it also has to. It could also do like it could bring back Flash. You know what I mean? The rise of Flash games. You know, or maybe a different platform to make shitty browser games.
He's saying that YouTube is going to break new grounds.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying here. YouTube already boasts a large library of gaming content that includes both live streams and pre-recorded videos. Google even attempted to spin this content out into its own app in 2015 with the launch of YouTube Gaming, but it was discontinued in 2019 after the company admitted that a lot of brand confusion. I don't know why they do that shit.
So they have tried this before.
Yeah, but they spun it out into a different platform. You know, don't go to YouTube, go to YouTube Gaming. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Which I think if they're going to do YouTube Gaming, which is something that they do already do. Like if I just pull up YouTube right now and where the hell is gaming? Right here.
That's just gaming clips.
But it will do, what's it called? It'll bring you this is like the top what's streaming right now.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I like that idea.
So basically it'd be up in the top left where you have like YouTube music. There'd be a tab even further to the left.
Yeah.
So it'd be over there.
That's what I'm saying is that I think
keep it part of the platform.
And more specifically, keep it under gaming.
Right.
Like games this way, you know what I mean? But here's all your gamers that you like to watch and all of your
And then if
clips.
you hit the gaming tab at the top, you'll get a whole selection of.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Integrate it, put it all over the place.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That would be the way to do it. Now, I know for a fact they're not going to do it that way, and they're going to fuck this up big time.
Well, you already go to Google Flights, you go to Google Mail, now you're just going to go to Google Games. I don't know. It probably won't work. But.
This is why I'm glad Steam exists, because they have that majority. This is I'm glad why Spotify exists, because they were the first, Netflix, they were the first ones to innovate.
That's my worry.
And they created the stranglehold, the majority on the market, and now these other technologies are coming in, you know what I mean?
I don't
Apple's
want
a phone
gaming to
company,
do that. I
you
don't
know?
want gaming to that's the thing is like we were talking about Fortnite the other day, and I'm like, I don't want to download a new launcher. I just don't. Like, I just let me stick to Steam. Put your fucking content on Steam and leave me alone.
But my question is, do you want all of your games to be under one service in case that service goes away?
That is a good point.
And that's a real problem, actually, because we've been talking about it this week. So that Go XLR that I have, so TC Helicon fired all. Write this down. I'm gonna clip this out.
I am.
TC Helicon fired all of their software team that supports the Go XLR without making the app source code open for other devs in the community to jump in and continue to update it with features and stuff. So eventually it's gonna stop working.
Right.
It's on a slow path to death now, right? Like that's it. No, so every piece of content I ever made with that thing, or anything I could hope to do with it in the future, it's now an unreliable piece of tech. It's just gonna wither off and die. Thankfully, there's other competition in the area that I can move to another platform, and everything will be a-okay. And that's what I'm saying here. That I don't want Google and YouTube to start being like a primary gaming platform that have exclusives that I wanted, but
And you
also at
have
the
to do
same
it from
time,
their launcher,
the diversity of multiple different launchers at least has that going for it.
I mean,
Because now I'm fucked. I'm $250 in the hole on this
That's
fucker,
true.
and it's just gonna go away.
But it's interesting though that at least when you're limited by hardware, you have diversity. Like if you look at gaming consoles, you got the big three. But if you're looking at like Netflix, which is not a hardware company, it's a software company, they had a stranglehold until now. Everybody's branching off and doing their own thing. Whereas I think gaming is more susceptible to having that type of model where it's everybody's just like, nope, sorry, you got to come to us. You want our stuff, you got to come to us.
Yeah.
The conversation we had today was basically what can you feasibly use after this, with spending the least amount of money? What's going to get you where you need to be with not outspending another $500, another $700? What keeps you in the $250 range?
And unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to happen for me. Because what these geniuses did, these bastards. All right, so the guys who invented the Go XLR at TC Helicon, right? They started their own gaming audio company, right? And they put out this Go XLR killer, okay? A whole ecosystem.
It's called the No XLR.
They were smart about it, though. What they did was they created the microphone is a USB mic that has all the software and all the processing in it. That's $280 right off the bat for that mic. You can do everything you need to with that mic to route all the computer, the mixing board, everything you want, right? But it's all software based. You want to control it hardware based, you got to buy a separate mixer, which equals the same price of a Go XLR when you bought them brand new.
Right.
So now what they did is they created a necessity and split the two. However, if you still buy the microphone or it'll still work, that type of thing. So they know what they're doing. As this thing's going out now, they're taking off. But this wouldn't be possible without that diversity of, I guess you could say, competitors.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's true.
So yeah, anyway, YouTube, don't do this.
I mean, I'm all for them putting games on their platform. Just don't be a dick about it.
I wonder if this says anything about when they how exactly YouTube plans to monetize. Oh, it's unclear how YouTube plans to monetize playables.
Well, YouTube's never really been about monetization.
What?
I mean, it's like they're subsidized. They don't make money, right? They're
YouTube?
subsidized by Google.
I don't think they're subsidized. The thing is that they keep growing, so they keep getting investors. That's the loop.
But most of their users are using the platform for free.
Yes.
Most people don't use premium.
Yeah, that's true. But premium is
They're not.
I give it 10 years and they'll have a steady revenue stream from premium.
Oh yeah,
for
it's
sure.
going to take a long time, but YouTube's been around for 20 years at this point.
Yeah, but the partner program's only been around for 10.
Yeah.
So people can only that's the we're only
I know.
10 years into monetization.
It'll be interesting because people are so used to this is free. It's the same thing with music. People are just accustomed to getting music for free,
which is a crime.
Yeah.
That is a crime.
So people are used to getting YouTube for free. So I don't know if most users are gonna switch over.
I hope so.
But that's a whole nother
All right,
conversation.
yeah. Bad games. Think you like Lord of the Rings, right?
Casually, yeah.
Casually?
Not
okay.
a huge fan, but
You weren't going to play Gollum?
No, I wasn't planning.
Well, you
on
better get out there and get it because that shit
I've
is
seen Donkey's
gone
review of
it. So the developer, which created the new Lord of the Rings Gollum video game, is set to close after a rather disastrous launch. I think it's Daedalic Entertainment or
How do you
Dadlic
spell it?
or Deadlick, Daedalic Entertainment.
Daedalic, yeah.
Daedalic.
D's nuts.
The maker behind the poorly reviewed action adventure game is shutting down its internal development department. As reported by Games Witchcraft, it's now shifting its focus to games publishing, sales, and marketing instead. After the release went down like a lead balloon with many fans basically hating the game. In a statement issued, the company said the decision was a difficult turning point. So. This screenshot, it was added to the screenshots of disappointing release, materials from developers. So it reads, "Dear players, dear players, we would like to sincerely apologize for the underwhelming experience many of you had with Lord of the Rings Gollum upon its release. We acknowledge and deeply regret the game did not meet the expectations we set for ourselves or for our dedicated community. Please accept our sincere apologies for any disappointment this may have caused. Our goal as a studio is to have passionate Lord of the Rings fans, has always been to tell a compelling and immersive story-driven adventure. Crafting the story of Middle-earth as a playground has been the greatest honor and the biggest challenge we faced so far." So yeah, so they kind of knew they were in the hole on this, it would seem. "Our development team has been working diligently to address bugs and technical issues you experienced." So basically, they put this out and was like, we're going to support this game and get it in the right place. And now they're saying, we're not making games at all anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we're done. We're gonna switch to selling other people's games.
What other games had they done? Anything else?
I don't think anything like this though. They had done like mobile stuff and like small like indie projects. This was the first one they really.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Based on what I know about it from Donkey, it was like you basically are a slave. Like Gollum is a slave. And it's like, what kind of, in the modern world of gaming, do you think that this is a good fucking idea?
And like the game is split up in this weird, like half of it, he's like underground slave, like doing people's bidding and I guess in jail. And then the other half is he goes back and like he goes above ground and you get to do things in the Shire and shit. You know what I mean? But I've never seen any of that footage. Hell,
I've only seen this slavery stuff.
I don't think anybody made it that far.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Because I was watching streams of this the weekend it came out, and I don't think anybody made it. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad, because it feels like, these guys, any one of these developers, he doesn't look great.
He looks terrible. He's
any
got to go
developer
see a doctor.
That gets handed any sort of licensed property, they try to do the best that they can with it, and sometimes they fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you end up with the greatest superhero trilogy ever put out on gaming, and then other times you end up with Gollum. You know what I mean?
I mean, even Peter Jackson fucking fumbled the ball with the Hobbit movies. It's like he was put in a weird situation and had to, pick up weeks before they went to shooting, and it just came out really shitty. And does that speak about Peter Jackson? No, it's just the situation.
Hey man, I'm just saying, some days you end up with Across the Spider-Verse, and other days you end up with Fant Four Stick. Okay,
Yeah.
The chasm is wide. All right.
Wait, what was the connection between those? You just Sony in general?
No, just one is they're the same genre of film, but one is absolute dog water, and the other one is Molly water.
What's the other?
It's a good time.
Multiverse movie that we just recently watched.
That would be The Flash.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's now
I would say.
Do you know that that's the biggest superhero bomb of all time?
Good.
That has bombed. There's been no movie that's bombed harder in the superhero genre than that movie.
Indie's not doing so good either.
I mean,
right?
that's not superhero genre though.
I know, but I mean, just while we're on the topic,
yeah, but
it's
that is having.
I love how The Conjuring is like it beat out Indie this week. It's like this is the second week that it's been in theaters, and it's getting knocked out by The Conjuring, the fifth Conjuring movie.
Yeah, we were in the
and
car.
it's not even a Conjuring movie.
Yeah. What?
It's an Insidious.
It's the same. People.
They're all the same.
I gotta. That's the thing is that before we move over there, I will say this. Before the movie started, I did look up, is this a Warner Brothers thing? Because they need a win. And then I was like, oh, it's the other James Wan, Patrick Wilson horror franchise. that is at their competitors. That's at Sony and Screen Gems. I was like, damn, they're not even catching a win on this.
I'm just realizing now. Being that we have so many movies coming up, I'm gonna go see the new Wes Anderson movie this week. I was like, okay, let me get my A-list reinstated. And I was talking to the guy at the counter. He's like, oh, what movie did you just see? Because I was getting credit for it, and I was like, The Conjuring. And he must have went and realized he definitely means Insidious, right?
Well, I imagine most people were, because when I went there today, that fucking theater was packed.
Oh, well, you went in the afternoon. I went in the morning.
What was the you were talking about?
Gollum.
The A-list shit.
Yeah.
We got tickets to see Mission Impossible tomorrow, because we got early screening access
Thursday?
with that A-list shit.
Yeah.
It comes out Wednesday, so technically you could start seeing it Tuesday.
I could.
You need to. I'm glad we're bringing this up. You need to shotgun 3 Mission Impossible.
I don't know
movies,
if I have it in me. I don't know.
They're good.
I just don't know if I have the energy to do it.
I promise.
Okay, Pat. The last time Nick did this, he got COVID
Yeah.
from John Wick.
But the last,
give me COVID.
but the last time Nick shotgunned 3 action franchise movies in a weekend, he was like, "Hey, this is actually really great." And this is the same caliber, except it's more like spies.
And then I was laid out for 2 weeks.
And then there's a weird. And then there's a weird. You noticed this weird thing that went on in 2011 where they kept trying to hand franchises off to Jeremy Renner. They did that with Mission Impossible as well.
They did?
Yeah.
That's what they did
Jason
for
Bourne.
Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Those movies came out 3 months apart. And guess what? The one movie was no, and they brought Matt Damon back, and the other one was keep Tom Cruise. And now Jeremy Renner is not even in those
Now
movies.
Jeremy Renner's in rehab. Not rehab. What's it called?
Occupational therapy.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Nick, there's a movie coming out this month that has some very big political controversy around it right now, and just in general.
Here, let me guess. Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol Part 1.
It's called Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Close.
That's what I was testing you.
Okay, close.
Oppenheimer.
You know what? I thought so too, because if they're making a movie about the Manhattan Project, you want them to make a movie about something that's real, right? Because that was the grift this week on Twitter, that nukes weren't real.
I don't even want to go there.
But no, surprisingly, the biggest political ramifications coming from this summer's blockbuster slate seems to be from the Barbie movie.
Oh boy!
Over its South China Sea map. Now,
Barbie's really gotten herself into a mess this time, eh?
I can see the play set.
Yeah.
Barbie at the apologizes to the United Nations.
Yes, I picture Barbie on an atomic submarine, and she's drawing on the map. All right, we strike here.
And it's hot pink.
And it's a hot pink submarine.
So
not very stealthy.
I was gonna say they still can't see it. So, Reuters is reporting that Vietnam has banned Warner Brothers' highly anticipated film Barbie from domestic distribution over a scene featuring a map that shows China's unilaterally claimed territory in the South China Sea. State media reported on Monday. The U-shaped 9-dash line is used on Chinese maps to illustrate its claims over the vast area of areas of the South China Sea, including swaths of what Vietnam considers its continental shelf, where it has awarded oil concessions. So, I don't understand.
Get the map up.
What's the accepted?
It's interesting though. I didn't even notice the dashes. Yeah, I was thinking next to Asia on the right.
Yeah,
see that line? So I was actually watching a Johnny Harris video on YouTube about this today. They dispute the territory in the sea. The way they draw their maps.
Yeah. But I'm saying, who's in the right? I don't think China
is innocent.
Okay, yes,
yeah.
yes. I realize that Barbie's not even a part of this
Who's in the right in the real world politics?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing as Taiwan, where they're like, oh yeah, Taiwan's ours. It's okay, all right, you can say that, but they recognize themselves as an independent nation. So
I mean, the other thing is, I'm saying that so China draws its map one way, and they fucking go overboard with what they claim.
Yeah,
is
they're
theirs.
claiming more territory
Because that depiction of the map is in this movie. Vietnam's like, well, fuck you. We're not putting this movie on because that's what this depicts.
I don't even know if that's supposed to be that dash line. It looks like it's just like an Indiana Jones, like, oh, and then we go here.
You're talking. I'm thinking up here though.
What? Why
No.
wouldn't it be next to Asia? That's like
Where do you see
that's
China?
Greenland.
That's
Asia.
it. Like that's
China is in
that's-
Asia.
Yeah,
that's
I know
the
that.
line.
What's down here then?
That's just. I think like that's supposed to be Japan.
Count these dashes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What? Maybe not.
Oh.
Is it 7? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's still wrong. There's a turtle. Does that help? I don't know why you're looking up by Greenland. That is.
I don't think it's an accurate map of the world.
Because it's not supposed to be.
It's not
So-
supposed to be because Africa's all the way down here. Why would Asia be all the way up and to the right?
What?
And why would the UK just be right here in the middle?
But it doesn't matter. That one's literally labeled Asia.
Yeah, I get that.
That's all that really matters.
I get that, but I'm saying that the drawing that they're offended by is probably this one.
I don't think so.
Because this up here would be China and Korea and what's it called?
Where are you? Why would that be China and
Because
Korea?
this looks like what I have in my head of what that part of the map looks
No,
like, Nick.
I
And
don't
I
think
know
so.
you know that this isn't what Asia looks like on a map. This looks closer.
So okay, let's just look at let's lay it out.
And like this looks like a rat bursting through a bottle of
Okay,
water.
we also
Okay,
need to
that's
remember
England. That's
Barbie is
England,
for
right?
children.
That's
this is
England
a child
with the
map.
crown on it.
Okay.
Asia over here, Africa, Australia,
Mm-hmm.
United States. This is Greenland. So although it might not be perfect, they're all approximately in the right.
So then I don't understand what they're upset over.
Oh, okay.
All that they're upset that basically they think that this is affirming China's claims to the
So
South China Sea.
DreamWorks in 2019's animated film Abominable, and last year it banned Uncharted for Sony's Uncharted, and the Australian spy drama Pine Gap in 2021. We do not grant license for the American movie Barbie to release in Vietnam because it contains offending images of the 9-dash line. Let me see what the 9-dash line actually looks like.
Oh, that's actually what I'm Googling right now.
I'm pulling up.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying,
I
right?
see. Oh. I wonder if we could get it overlaid with the Barbie map.
You see what I'm saying, right? That piece of geography just doesn't like this right here is the 9-dash line. It has that same type of.
I think it goes the wrong way. But either way,
Either way, I think it was innocently done.
for sure.
I don't think anyone was thinking about it, honestly.
No.
I could be honest. Either whether it was whether this is VFX or somebody hand painted this or whatever
Margot
it was,
Robbie did
they
this.
were not thinking. They were not thinking, nor did they care about the 9-dash line.
I think it's just a stylistic thing, honestly.
Yeah, but like I said, this is not meant to be accurate in the slightest at all.
You
Like,
don't say.
Obviously, because fucking Asia's all the way up here for whatever. The actual Asia's up here, then they labeled whatever this is supposed to be over here.
I mean, you're looking at it as like it doesn't physically look like Asia, but think about like Eurasia. Like that could be part of the Asia that connects to Europe.
And just think about you being a kid
you're
trying to
thinking
draw
of-
a map.
You're literally thinking of the borders of China. That could be all of like, that whole side of the map, including parts of Russia, which then it would make more sense. A
So
little.
it wouldn't be Asia.
No, that's part of Asia, Eurasia.
But it's not all. Like, all right.
Not even worth it.
Okay. So nobody's seeing fucking Barbie in Vietnam though.
Not for now. We'll see if they
Yeah.
can diplomatically solve that.
They're not gonna do it.
We do have to buy our Barbie tickets after this.
Yeah, it's true. We said we were gonna buy our Barbie tickets. That's right.
Well, we're going to do that together, right?
Are we seeing Barbie together?
And Oppenheimer?
No, Oppenheimer. We already have tickets to the city.
I thought we were doing Barbenheimer.
I have never heard this plan before.
That's why I said pull up last week's episode. And I said we got to get our tickets.
We bought our Oppenheimer tickets
like a month ago. I'm out of here.
Like a month ago.
If you want to see if the 70 millimeter in the city on Friday night still has tickets,
it's 6 stories
I'm
tall.
doing the full day. Are we doing both on the same weekend?
Yeah.
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 We're gonna have a Barbenheimer.
I'll go with Mike. It's fine.
Do we need T-shirts?
No.
I can make
we
t-shirts.
do not need T-shirts. T-shirts are expensive as fuck. I made one. One T-shirt cost me like probably $80. Anyway.
What?
Speaking of cheap shit, we saw Insidious: The Red Door.
Damn, we're
this
already
weekend.
there.
Yeah, like I said, we're keeping it nice and tight this week.
Yeah, man.
Listen. So
what I can assume from this is that Mike is the reason our episodes run fucking long.
Yeah, I'd say so. We should kick that guy's ass. Insidious: The Red Door, also Insidious 5, whatever you want to call
Not
it.
to be confused with The Conjuring.
Normally we always do non-spoiler spoiler. I have very little to say non-spoiler. I can sum it up in one sentence, and it is simply: this movie is objectively awful. However, if you're a fan of Insidious, you can check it out. All others need not apply.
I didn't think it was awful.
You don't need to see this. It's boring and slow, besides for small little bursts here and there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's I called it before we started the epilogue to a TV show I used to watch a long time ago. They stopped this story at the second one. They resolved it by the whole charm and everything, like the hypnosis to make them forget everything. And then the third movie was about the chick in the hospital.
It's a prequel about Elaine.
Yes.
The parapsychologist.
Yes. And then
I think the fourth one is also about her.
I think the fourth one's young her. I think the third one is just a prequel.
I think you flip-flop those. Third one is a prequel. Mm-hmm. Fourth one is just a different story with Elaine and her her backup squad.
Okay. With their homies.
Yeah.
And then this one feels almost like one of those legacy sequels. It does. But I'm glad it's just one of those things where I'm glad I watched it as somebody who enjoys the first 3 films, but this doesn't need to live beyond that.
So I hadn't seen the movies since they came out, the first couple. And I was always like a big fan of Insidious just because the imagery has always stuck with me, and I thought the concepts are really good. I rewatched the first 2 before I went to go see this one. And they're really underwritten, and definitely the first one especially, they didn't have the budget to match the scope of what they were trying to do. But again, it's like they were really ambitious and played with some cool concepts that I don't think any other horror franchise had done really. And I thought this one was an okay conclusion to the Lambert story. I didn't think it was awful. It was a little slow, but it was nice to see this again.
This one looked the cheapest.
You think so?
Oh yeah, there's an effect.
When was the last time you saw the first 2?
There's an effect in this film where in the other movies, when they explore certain areas, we'll just say
the further.
I don't want to give it away. When they explore certain areas that looks absolutely flawless. There's one scene of this movie towards the end where there's a transition in that space. I saw the black back curtains on the back of the studio wall.
You saw the metal legs and the sandbags at the bottom.
Yes, I saw that. I saw the rod in the middle, and I saw the waves in the curtains. I'm like, that's amateur directing right there. He just didn't see that in the edit. This is Patrick Wilson's first movie, so it makes sense. Listen,
this is
his directorial debut, and I think because it's one of these things where it's like, it's a material he's familiar with, obviously. This is one of those guys who's like, hey, I've been to the racetrack so much. Yeah. Why don't I drive a car once in a while and see how it happens?
Across all of these Blumhouse horror movies, how many has he done?
That was the other thing, too. I don't think the first one was a Blumhouse horror movie.
No, they weren't Blumhouse yet, but Jason Blum was a producer on it.
Yeah, okay.
So it's, that basically catapulted Jason Blum.
Yeah.
But so the first two of these, has he been in all of the Conjuring movies?
Patrick Wilson?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many
All
of
of them.
those are there?
There's
5?
There's 3 mainline ones. There's 1,
The Nun.
2, and The Devil Made Me Do It. And then he's in the what's the one Annabelle Comes Home that he's also in?
I'm bringing up.
They have a very limited role in that one, and that's the
Yeah.
4 that he's in. But then now he's in all 3. He's in the 3 big Insidious movies.
Damn.
So, yeah, I really don't have anything. I just want to get into the guts of this and talk about this like spoilery. I don't know, Liz, do you have anything non-spoiler you wanted to mention?
I thought it was fine. I didn't think the horror payoff was good enough. Like, I got some good jumps, but that was about it. Also, like, Pat and I can talk about our theater experience today. It was not the worst. Like, I've definitely been in worse theaters, but this was like, it was 2:00 on a Sunday. It was very full, surprisingly. There were had to be 10 teenagers behind us that couldn't decide if they wanted to stay and watch the movie or just like talk and hug each. This one teenager came in.
This
20
fucking guy
minutes late.
kicked my chair twice, and he kept coming in and what? It's like, what do you spend money to go to the movies for if you're gonna act like a fucking animal the entire time?
They're
like
like-
Mike's guy
and
that fell
then
asleep
and
last
then
week.
he's fucking walking through the aisle behind us with his phone. I guess.
He was an hour late. That
and,
guy
like-
was an hour late. There was another guy that came in and hugged people. And like he's bending down and like put his hand on Pat's chair, like directly in between our shoulders. And we're both like, hello?
You mind?
Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, hey, can you not? And then of course, like, he sits next to me and has his fucking phone in his face the entire time.
Did he
At
show
one
you
point,
any
at one
memes?
point, all I said was you could turn the brightness down, and then he just put his phone down and didn't look
That's
at me,
great.
didn't say anything
That's
the
great.
entire time.
but like
But it's just like, stay home, stay home.
the girls with them must have gotten up
And I'm glad this
3
is
times to get like refill their Slurpees. I'm like, do you want to watch the movie? Like,
Yeah.
how can I be scared and like in the moment with like you all being
I'm
heathens?
assuming like from the teenager perspective, this is just a way to get out of your house and be with your friends and have somewhere to go.
Oh yeah, well we said I'm like
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to any teenager show times ever again after
Yeah.
this. Like listen, I've been in movies
We've
with
done
plenty of teenagers, and 9 times out of 10 they are fucking little shits. Sometimes when we see the big movies, like when we see like all the Marvel movies, everybody's usually chill. John Wick, everybody's chill, even the teenagers, because
everybody's hyped.
this
about
is
it,
a
yeah.
fucking distraction for them. It's like, yeah, well, fuck you, okay? I got work tomorrow, bitch. Okay,
I got a podcast to do.
yeah.
And like, you know
Motherfucker.
what? I was that teenager. I was a little shit, and I know
We
it.
all were.
But like,
I was never
God
that
damn,
guy
it's
in a
annoying
movie.
now.
yeah.
I mean, I
find
don't.
that
In
hard
a
to
movie
believe.
theater, I was never that
Yes,
dude.
in a movie
never,
theater.
ever.
I was very
was not.
respectful.
I was not like getting up and talking because like I enjoy going to the movies, so like that was fun for me as a teenager. But my God, I wanted to like turn around and be like, "Can you please just shut the fuck up?" But then I didn't need 15 teenagers like launching their Slurpees at me.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is because they're entitled little fucks as well. So if you tell them that they're wrong, they don't just take their lashings and shut the fuck up. They gotta
Like
have
the
a
guy
mouth
sitting
about
next
it.
to
Yeah.
you.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm 30.
Oh,
okay,
fuck.
there's a difference. Okay. All right.
I walked out of the theater and I saw like my buddy Eric and his wife. I was just like, "Hey guys," they were like, "Were you just in that movie?" Yeah, I was. They're like, "Why are you by yourself?" I was like, "Cause I got a fucking podcast where I got to see 1,000 movies every week. I'm not
That's the way
gonna
to
drag
go.
Alexis to every
we,
single one."
We brought this up
She doesn't
before.
like to go.
I mean, not every time. We watched the 2. I forced her to sit through the first 2 Conjuring, Insidious movies, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to the theater. You want to come?" She was like, "Nah."
We talked about this in the car. I was going to say it before, but I guess it fits here. I was like, is this the first movie we're seeing in like 2 weeks that hasn't bombed?
That hasn't bombed because the place was packed with people.
Well, that and their budget was probably razor thin.
Well, yeah. So their budget was 15 million, I think.
And I think what's it up at like 50?
They
for the
have
weekend?
they've domestically they took in 32, which
Okay.
means this thing's already paid for itself. Internationally, they did another 31, so 64 million altogether. So let's see what it makes by next week, because they
gonna
got
get
till
stomped into
they
the
got
dirt.
till Wednesday
Yeah.
to clean house. But the other thing is that
Well, who's seeing movies on Mondays and Tuesdays? It is the summer though,
Yeah.
So it is the summer
And like
families.
the screening that we got tickets for is fucking packed with people
Ghost Protocol.
for Dead Reckoning.
I just mean for Insidious.
Oh no.
On Monday and Tuesday, they're not going to.
Well, okay. I have a. I've checked out the subreddits. The fans like this. They
Yeah,
think this
sure.
is a good entry. And honestly, I didn't even hate the events that took place in the movie. It's how
kinda the pacing
it was
of
the
it.
execution of
Yeah,
it. And it's one of those things where like it was marketed exactly to the people who they needed this to see. They knew that it was in good hands because it was maybe not a director or a writer from because Lee Winnell did not write anything for this. He did
Oh,
he did the story, but this is the first one he doesn't have a writing credit on. And yeah, I mean they handed it off to the lead actor who wants to try his hand at directing, and he did an okay job, I guess.
And he wanted to do the father-son story.
In the eyes of the fans, well, like I said, I don't think, and like it's a good premise, right? Because it's like, what happens like next? You know what I mean? Because like that, I remember chapter 2 was such an insidious ending. You know what I mean? Like
they just closed
they
the door.
literally just closed the door,
Like,
and
all right,
that's it.
later.
Like, yeah, and that's supposed to be like, all right, that's like a time in their lives, and it's like now it's all this years later, and all this trauma is bubbling up, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This distance between them. This too also did the whole your hero is divorced and his kids hate him.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that you could have seen that coming from the first 2 movies. That marriage was rough.
That's one way to put it.
I wanted to ask you, what format did you see this in?
It was the only one that was available.
Laser?
Was regular. Whatever.
I got a laser.
Well,
was
that's just what it is now. Is laser at AMC or whatever the fuck, right?
At my theater, they have just like digital is the standard one,
Mm-hmm.
and then this one was laser, and it had like 18 seats in the whole theater. I'm like, what?
Nice.
This is weird. I feel like. It's like, all right, come on, you little assholes. This is just for you. Come on, come to the tiny theater.
Yeah. So number, I would give this. I'd say this is like a 4 out of 10.
That's brutal. You're saying that this is more of a miss than fucking The Flash.
I'm saying what I think this movie sets out to do, it doesn't do well. It has every horror trope for the last 15 years of horror. There's no fresh ideas in this at all.
But for me, it's like, I'm not saying that this take is wrong, but for me, I just had a good time. I like the characters. I think it was the best.
I did the meme at one point. I'm straight up not having a good time.
I give it like a 6.
check my watch constantly. Like listen, we saw 5 horror movies in a row last summer, all varying degrees of quality and how much I liked them. But I didn't dislike any of them. This is the first one in a while. I'm just like, this is one of those. This is like Tourist Trap 8. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what this feels like now. Granted, this is not one of those things where it's like, oh, they brought back the lead actress's sister from the second seat. You know what I mean? Like, there's none of that shit. It's the actual, all the original players are back. So it has that legacy sequel vibe to it. You know what I mean? And those are all the rage now. So
Liz, what's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 6, just because I enjoyed it. I think if our theater hadn't sucked, I might have been more like scared by something. Ooh. But there were points where it was either like the pacing was terrible. It was either going too fast, too slow. We can talk about the opening. I thought after the opening that this was going to be like stellar. I thought the opening was great, and then it just like crashed and burned for me. There was some stuff that I was like, why'd you do that? This seems silly. This is a silly idea. But otherwise it was just okay. It was just a solid 6. I didn't love it, didn't hate it.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Okay, let's get into it. What even?
Wait, did you?
Wait,
You didn't give
it a number.
You didn't give us a
I
rating.
gave it a 6.
Okay.
No, I don't think you did.
I did.
You,
We'll watch the episode back. You said you gave it a 4, and I was like, oh, that's harsh. I liked it. I had a good time. I like the characters. I'd give it a 6.
Okay.
We'll watch it.
All right, we'll watch it back.
You're
We'll
gonna
watch it
watch
back.
it
We're
We'll
gonna
watch
have
it
to watch
back.
that back. Yeah.
Something, Liz, remember when I was just like, something happened in the timelines? That was it right there. Something else
yes.
has happened in the timelines.
Outside this giant car dealership that we have to drive by, there was just a giant inflatable car fox. It doesn't look
A
new.
giant fox wearing a
It's-
t-shirt
yeah.
saying the car fox.
Get the Carfax.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look new. And I'm like,
Has that always
in
been
there?
there? And I was just like, it's a timeline.
That's a
thing.
Mandela effect.
Yeah, somebody's jumping through time and they fucked that up. And now that's there.
We got George Clooney and we got the Carfax.
Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
All right.
So what was the opening? I don't remember what was the cold open. Was
Okay,
it just the funeral?
yeah. Do we just want to jump in?
Yeah, we're gonna do spoilers now.
Pat's in a bad mood because of this movie.
I was just thinking, like, with like that figure coming up behind the Patrick Wilson car, like we get the premise that your kids hate you, you're divorced now, and him running into the doctor that did the hypnosis. I was like, oh, like I thought he would come back and do
Carl.
something cool. Carl, like, where did you go the rest of the film?
He was the tip. He was the you know what, that's exactly my point, is that I feel like the other two, when I refer to the other Insidious movies for the rest of this conversation,
Just the first two.
I'm referring to the first two in this story. The first two films, for better or for worse, were really good at suggestive storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, you could put things together, and only the truly necessary things to the plot did they agonizingly explain to you. So this way it's one of those
They
things
don't
where it's
force
like,
feed it to you.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like, oh, there's a red door, or there's a bucket that keeps showing up. And then like at the end of the movie, you put it together. It's like, oh, she died because this bitch hit her with a bucket and that caused this, and now she does, you know what I mean? Like, you're able to put it together. This had none of that. This
true.
was just like stuff that they set up and then they never paid off. And then the
Such
stuff that
as?
they did set up and paid off, I felt like kind of had no bearing on the plot until that very moment. Specifically with the dad. The stuff with the ghost dad comes in and out the whole movie, and it doesn't really matter until the very end. The dad's not guiding him anywhere. The dad's not. There's no significance to the dad.
So I don't want to jump too far ahead. But the dad, I do think, when you say he doesn't guide him anywhere, he literally chased that motherfucker up the stairs into his dead mom's bedroom and shoved him into the closet where he got the MacGuffin. Like that, the dad literally forced him to pick this up to put the pieces together.
See, that's the thing, is that that's one way you could look at it, but before that he also goes into the further. So you also could interpret that as him pushing him, like, hey, you can do this, remember? Like, you can fucking astral project. Because that's the what's it called? That was the other thing. Or I guess that's like the one aspect of the film I guess I did like was the memories coming back.
Yeah.
Or was them figuring out that they had these
And having
powers.
having the just bits and pieces didn't give the full story to them. Like the whole time the son was like, "Oh, you tried to kill me." It's like, no. You just have a sliver of the memory. That's not what was happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go back to the top.
Yeah. The text messages on screen were weird.
That was
That was weird. There's never not. Listen, when you're doing the same thing that Good Charlotte music videos from 2016 are doing, you should not be putting
You're
that
doing
in
it
a
wrong.
movie. You're doing it wrong.
I really liked that they were divorced, because in the first one, their relationship was so strained. Like there was one point, some of the writing was a little underdeveloped, and there's so the shit starts popping off in the first movie, and all of a sudden Patrick Wilson's like, I gotta stay late at work. At my job as a teacher, my boss said I have to stay late. It's like, never in a million years as a teacher does your boss call you and say, you have to stay late and grade papers tonight.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. And then it's just him avoiding the problems, and it read to me as him being scared of ghosts. So he's just like, fuck my family, I'm staying at school. But it was really, you learn that it's him being afraid of his past and having been an astral projector, a traveler, and not knowing how to deal with that.
They never bring up his childhood in this movie either, because his childhood was a very big focal point to his character in
Kinda
the
in
first
both.
two movies.
Yeah.
And this one, they don't bring that up at all.
I think it's kind of like, I don't know how it would work into this one.
Oh, I'm not saying it would have been a good idea too, or to throw it in with the mix with everything else.
Right.
But I'm saying it if that was something you were interested in seeing, that is not anywhere in this movie.
Yeah, little baby Josh.
Yeah. I'll just start with some of the things I liked up in the front, up in the beginning. Well,
Dig
there's
deep.
not very much.
Dig deep.
Oh, you know what was a bright spot when the two paranormal guys had a successful YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They had 7.49 million subs. I was
Good
like,
for
good
them.
for them. I'm glad it all worked out.
And that's Lee Winnell as Specs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is him. Yes.
Yeah, it's good to see them. I was kind of hoping they'd have a bigger role, but that's fine.
Should we talk about some scaries? So the one thing I didn't like about this movie is that the ghost always turned off the lights. So there's no day spookies. Like there's
Oh, yes. Okay, so if something you need to
guess
know
that'll work.
about
There's
Pat and
something
I is we love a good daytime spooky. Like jump out while, and I guess there
if
was
you can make a
bit,
horror movie frightening when it's bright outside,
You're
if your
doing it
movie
right.
has day spookies, you got a good horror movie.
Now I will say
This
we
movie,
did.
no day
no,
spookies.
we got one with the dad when he bursts through the window, which is like a whole other thing. Like, why are you bursting through the window?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, but
He just fucking tackled him through a pane of
That's what I'm
glass.
saying. It's like, did he really push him upstairs? Or like, it's not thought out.
No, he
It's
didn't
like,
push him upstairs. He like pushed him into the
I
closet.
get that,
He
but I'm
chased
saying
him
that,
up the stairs into the. Remember, because he opened the door
Yeah.
to the mom's bedroom 1st,
Mhm.
and then chased him into because he wanted him to go into that room.
Yeah, but even then, it's just if that was your objective, why would
shouldn't
you
have ju-
roll
Well,
through a pane glass?
Maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe he thought like, if I don't do it this way, he's not going to get scared and run upstairs.
Maybe, I don't know. You're giving a lot of credit to this ghost dad.
I'm trying to think. Like, there's like a good amount of exposition. Like we said, it was very slow and kind of plotting. It didn't really get into it.
It sure did.
It was very surface level on every single point.
But when he goes into the MRI machine, that was a fun one. That was a fun scare.
There was some interesting camera angles that put me on edge in that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it was ruined for me when I found out they were falling in and out of sleep.
But that's kind of always been the thing.
Oh, well, wasn't it the third one? Was it the third?
Third one doesn't count in this
Oh, that's
discussion.
right. Okay, fair enough. Yes, I already said the
And-
other
One and
Insidious
two.
movies.
And if we're gonna get,
But
like,
I thought they had to be hypnotized, not that they fell
Nope.
asleep.
nope, astral projection is always like when you're sleeping.
That's wild.
There was in that point in the second one when Patrick Wilson is pulling a Shining on them, and they go down into the basement, and the kid's like, "Oh, I'll go to sleep and find the real daddy." So he just goes and like conks out.
Yeah.
So that's always been a thing. Is like it's a sleep thing.
Can we talk about how he like remembers that he can do that? Like flip of a switch. He's like, I need a dark room and 10 seconds and I'll be out.
Well, he had that it had been happening to him for a couple
Like,
nights at that point.
Yeah, like
yeah,
with the
but
art class.
but being able to just harness it and take it for a ride at that point, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That bedroom ghost was fucking trippy though. The one that was
the
vomiting
puking ghost?
everywhere. Yeah, that guy was fucked up.
The guy was puking in Nick
Yeah.
the Dick's bathroom.
Yeah, Nick the Dick's bathroom. That guy was fucked up.
I love how they set that up. It's like we don't want any more incidents. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the kid that died.
Yeah. I knew as soon as they said it, I was like, okay, we're gonna see him
Yeah.
at some point.
Shut the door. Shut the door.
And then
Good
that
stuff.
frat house is never addressed again after we can talk about Chris's character after she almost just dies.
Yeah, I like how she's just like, fuck this. Oh, I did want to say about Chris and the whole college thing and the art. We didn't even talk about the art teacher. Everything about the college just felt like such a caricature of college. It's like, who's your kooky roommates playing melodica and, you know,
Yeah.
like saying stuff about liberal arts. And, you know, it's like,
It's
you don't
also-
know how to write for youth.
Yeah,
Whoever
it's,
wrote this.
It's also one of those. How do I put it? It's like, it's very It's like a caricature of college raps, really.
You
But
notice
there's
the one student, the first student in the art class that you see, literally has pink hair and cat ear
Yeah.
headphones. I'm
Yep.
like,
Oh, it was
it's so.
And
the
there's, like,
well, I was gonna say the
shaved
teacher.
head,
the teacher was the most stereotypical at
Yeah.
all. And like this big art student would be like, "You're going to break the rules," and like he tears up his portrait of his recently deceased grandmother and everything. And like I get he's trying to find himself and all that shit, but like you're right, it was a caricature, and there was something, but like I didn't mind the college at like.
It was cool to have it be outside of the house.
Yeah, our teacher was a total nothing.
It was to me, yes, the writing was weird, or not even weird, just like kind of lame. I do think the framing device of her having him do the art exercise and count back from 10 was an interesting framing device to open the door again.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool.
That was the other thing I thought at this time. I was like, I'm so sick of the artist that draws the horrors that they see. Cliche. You know what I mean?
And they did have it in the previous movies too, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what the
When did the first one come out?
2010, I think.
So you're saying like the tropes of the last 15 years, but that means that Insidious created them.
2011, actually.
Yeah.
No, I would not say that. I even think that the first Insidious movie is good, but it's not some revolutionary like scare house. It's just got these fun ideas and cool execution. It's good enough.
And the fucking
Same with the
character
second one.
design. I know it's not his name in the movie, but the
Darth Maul
guy, I call him Tiny Tim.
They changed him.
They did. He's older now. He's more mature.
Yes, but also the first movie got the reaction that it did. Like, oh my god, it looks like Darth Maul. But that was not intentional, right?
But just that shot of him over Patrick Wilson's shoulder is so fucking recognizable.
It's very iconic, yes. However, Disney now owns.
You think that they don't want him to look like Darth Maul?
Well, he still has the red on his face, but it's a handprint now. It's not the patch like it used to be.
He was also kind of like, he looked almost like older and broken down and kind of crispy around the edges.
Yeah. You didn't get too much of him as compared to the first two movies.
Because the first one, they did a great job of just sprinkling him in, and then the third act, like they showed too much of him and his like hooves.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you can see the flaws.
There's also this weird like, it's like who's the villain? Is it Darth Maul or is it the dead lady? You know what I mean?
Well, yes, but it was always set up that the demon, the Tiny Tim demon, is going for what's his name? Dalton. And then in the first one, they even get into the old lady is Josh's groomer. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much what it is.
Uncle fucking what was his name in the movies? Carter or something. Like in this, they get into it in the second one. Carter.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Bill Wilkins. Nah, that's The Conjuring.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think like, this. I don't know, man.
What'd you think
thinking
of?
Was a whole fucking nothing burger to me. I can't even think anything. But keep going. Ask me questions once in a while.
I liked when he is pulled back into the further, how Tiny Tim has set up like vignettes of his coma year.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you want to fucking remember? I'll show you.
Yeah.
But then in the real world, when it's them in the dorm room, I thought that was really underbaked.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been like maybe her running around the dorms, but it's just him tossing her around the dorm room. And, he looks scary, but they didn't really do much of anything with it.
The first hour of the movie was really slow. The first 20 minutes was bad. That was like, I remember I learned her. I was like, this is shit so far. Then it started some interesting stuff happened. Right around that hour mark is where shit picks up though, because that's when he goes and meets Rose Byrne, which is his ex-wife. I wish she had a little bit more to do here than just be the worry ex-wife.
Just kind of what she was in the other movie. Although she was dealing more with the supernatural stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
She was worrying the whole time and just scared, but she was
confronting it head on as opposed to...
She basically drove a lot of the action in the first one.
Yeah. Whereas this movie, she has a lesser role to take, and it was I mean, like, what I liked about that scene specifically is how the emotions between the two of them, how she knows what happened, but she doesn't let him on, and finally like he gets it out of her, and she yells at him because you chased around with a fucking baseball bat.
Yeah.
Like the kids don't know, they saw it in your face.
He's yelling too. He's like, "Oh, how could you keep this from me? Like we could have worked through this." And she's like, "No, can't work through that."
Yeah. And then on top of that, his son's drawing pictures of him at the red door beating. Now, what's the significance? Is the red door just that guy's house?
Tiny Tim?
Yeah.
Alexis and I were talking about this, and she was under the impression that like there's a bunch of red doors, and all these ghosts have red doors. It was almost like fucking Danny Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have? Oh no, I'm thinking of
Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the red door is just kind of like that person, that traveler. So like that's Josh's door. It's a metaphor in a way. So it's like that's his connection to the further, kind of. So I don't like. Yes, that is where Tiny Tim lives, but I don't think it's like that's his front door to go home.
Yeah,
it's like
got
that's it's like, you know, if he wants to creep into Dalton's world.
Okay. What do you think of the music?
Didn't think about it at all.
The music didn't do the normal Insidious thing
I'm
that
so
it does.
like the opening one.
Until they started going to the further again.
Like this,
Did you notice
just like
that?
the strings?
Like thematically.
Yeah.
The more and more that they started going in, you started hearing that motif, and then by the end, it was full blown.
I'm just glad the opening sequence. It's fucking loud. In the first two movies, it's just like that screaming cacophony of strings.
Yeah.
They didn't go that hard for this
They
one.
did not. They did not. But there was that motif there, here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Like that's the thing, man. It's just I feel like this movie is just such your bog standard. Like let's just watch this on like this. I'd put this in the same fucking realm as those two shit Halloween sequels. You know what I mean? I just happen to like Insidious more. This is the best out of those three, but I'd put it in that company.
Yeah. I'd put it between Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 and 3. Like it's somewhere between the quality, because Halloween 1 was really solid and 2 and 3 were just garbage.
Yeah.
This would fall somewhere in the middle.
Like if I were to stack them in a pile, it would be 3, 2, and then this. Halloween 3, Halloween 2, and then this. This being the best.
This would be the why would you start? I'm saying Halloween 1 is the best, then this, and then 2 and 3.
Oh, I'm not even
underneath.
talking. Halloween 1's in its own thing.
Oh, okay. I would.
I'm just saying like this. I'm just saying 2 and 3 are also shit movies, and when I think of shit movies, this one would come to mind too.
Yeah, fair enough.
I would put it in with the movie where the evil transfers eyes. That's where I'd put it through. Liz, you have anything for spoilers?
God, I wish I did. I really wish I did.
It's a movie about nothing.
Yeah, can we talk about like what was just with the random jokes? Like there was some random, like I guess they just wanted Chris to be the comedic
MCU
release.
There was some jokes and levity in the first couple, especially the Specs and Tucker. Like they were usually the comic relief, but yeah, I think the humor just didn't land.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, it's like you give this brooding artist with memory issues one quippy line the entire movie, and that's it. Like, it just like felt fake and not. I wish it like a funny joke. I think I got like one good laugh out of me, but I just don't think it was necessarily needed at that point. But
I get it's tough to kind of really find anything to say because so much of this movie is
Nothing.
there's not a whole lot of like set pieces or anything. We went over the MRI machine, that was cool. The frat house one was cool. The follow-up frat house scene was okay. That seeing Tiny Tim again for the first time in that scene was cool to see him like lurking over the roommate's body.
Yeah.
Then there's, like we said, they returned to
This movie did
the further
something really well. Actually, I do have something to compliment on. It made really small spaces really easy to hide in a corner in. They'd be doing full 360s of rooms. Looking
and you're
for
like,
people.
where the fuck?
Where the fuck is he?
Yeah.
And then when they do another one, oh, it's in the corner now. You know what I mean? They did a lot of that, and like, I get it. They're trying to set up. Oh, maybe it wasn't there. That's the
problem.
You're playing with your expectations.
See,
you know what I
that's
mean?
where I think the problem is with this movie is that they set so much of it in that dorm room. Whereas if you did like bring it to the gym, bring it to the dining hall, set it at college. Like the frat house was cool because they had different rooms and stuff, and they still didn't even utilize it.
Yeah.
Whereas if they took the college setting and thought bigger, then it could have been cool, like chase scenes and running away from ghosts, but they didn't. You're just trapped in the room with some boogans.
The scene at the end, the one where he's holding the light.
Before you get to that, what about they tried to do the thing that Insidious does really well in the first two, where it's like it injects the character from this movie and plugs him into the previous movie. Mm-hmm. So when Josh is revealing the memories, and he's now in the basement when Patrick Wilson's like got the hammer and he tackles him. I thought that was a clever way of working it in, especially when he's now fighting with the grandmother.
Now, did that happen in the second one? He gets tackled.
So no, he's holding the hammer over his head.
Yeah.
And then in the ghost realm, Patrick Wilson's, his actual self is fighting for control, and he kills a ghost that then gets rid of the ghost from his body.
Yeah.
So he collapses. This one, it's like he's not so much collapsing as it times in perfectly with Dalton.
Yeah.
Tackling him. There was no clear cut way.
It's not as seamless as because the first two movies were written side like
perfect.
Oh yeah, when I saw the second one, I was very impressed.
The knock at the door, you're like,
that's the best
amazing.
one. I was like, how could you even time that? And then when you figure out that they wrote these movies to fit like a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Whereas
they pulled it Back to the Future part 2.
It was great. It truly is great. And then
in the second one when they show young Josh. And he's like, I'll show you. And they are not sure what's going on. And then it circles back around. And Patrick Wilson's now back in the fucking 80s. And Elaine's character is like, oh, so that's what that was about. He's talking to his older self.
Yeah. Oh, makes sense. Yes. Speaking of Elaine, what I was going to say was the part where he calls out to his where basically he says, I'm gonna die to save my son, and he's gonna walk around the further, I guess, and be dead, right? He's just gonna die on
This ends with me.
Yeah, this ends with me. Truthfully, I thought they were gonna go for fan service and Elaine was gonna walk out,
or
and
his mom.
And I was gonna be like, all right, that would be 3 times they've done that now, and it's good every time. You know what I mean? That there's that Dan the Best Buy witch is in the further fighting all the ghosts. So, and then so what's the deal with her at the end?
Before we get to that, did you think the scene with the dad was too sappy or just sappy enough?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It didn't, because it made, I mean, like,
it would have been nice if we had more of the dad throughout the movie, but I think they had just enough.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but do you know in Man of Steel when AI Jor-El is, it could have been like that.
Yeah.
And
it kind of was.
A little bit. But it wasn't as direct. You know, it almost has that air of like American Werewolf in London, where the best friend gets murdered and you see his
coming
ghost
back to it,
for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and he's decomposing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I think it could have been like. Not as comedy or jokey, but in that sense of where like
he's like guiding him through the mission.
Yeah.
That's the thing, they want to keep it a misdirect. They're trying to make it a misdirect,
isn't it? Because I feel like it would have been a fresh idea to be like, Ghost Dad, he's going through walls.
Ghost Dad.
He's going through doors.
Weeknights on
Dad's
ABC.
Been through a lot lately. Oh, wait. You don't know Ghost Dad? You don't know fucking Ghost Dad.
Ghost Dad.
Look.
I knew what that was.
He's walking through doors. He's falling through floors. He's going through a lot lately, but he's still dad. It's Ghost Dad. Okay.
Let me see the IMDb picture on the second row.
This one?
Yeah. What's he doing up there?
Well, it is Bill Cosby. You never know what he's
I have
up
a
to.
horrible joke. I'm gonna keep it to myself.
No, the gig that we played the other day. I played with Ella. They had TVs playing in the basement across from where the set was. So at one point, they're playing a bunch of retro commercials.
Oh, shit, I think Joe might have told me this. Keep going.
Dude, there was they were playing a bunch of retro commercials, and one of them was like Bill Cosby doing like pudding pops or something. So.
You got to screen those out.
Yeah, right? You would think. So at one point, like we cracked a joke about Bill Cosby. Oh, what the fuck is he doing here? And then later on, we're playing the show, and I look over at Guy, and over his shoulder is there Bill Cosby again, and I just point in front like a whole audience, and I just point, and everybody turns to look at Bill Cosby eating fucking pudding on TV.
It's like that scene in Scream where she points while the dude's getting killed up in the top.
I haven't seen it.
You need to watch Scream movies, Nick.
I gotta watch
and
the fucking
Mission Impossible too.
movies.
All right. Anyway,
then they had the other scene. Then there was another sappy scene between Dalton and Dad.
at the end,
I finally made the wall.
yeah. Which what a fucking frame to pick of your life.
Yeah.
the most traumatic part.
Well,
and
no, that's your dad.
I mean,
is
and
now
I guess
your
that was
hero.
kind of like the moral of the story. Was like, oh no, we have to talk about our problems, even if it's shitty, or
Yeah.
we have to live with this. I thought the idea of painting over the door in the picture
That
was,
was
cool too.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
paint starts stripping on him.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too.
You also really liked the hammer coming out of the.
That was cool as fuck. I did not see that coming at all.
And it's cool that they gave Tiny Tim. It's like he had more of an active role. There was that one point where Josh is realizing what's going on. Not Josh, Dalton is realizing what's going on, and he texts his roommate like, it's not a coma, I'm gonna figure out what's going on. And then he goes to sit down, and it cuts to Tiny Tim, and he blows out a candle, and all of the lights in the dorms go out.
Yeah.
And that's what tipped off.
I thought they were gonna follow that even more. That oh shit, he's figured out how to get to the other side.
Well, and then I think the hammer was him. You know what I mean? It's like he is now puppet mastering the situation.
With the vignettes, he is I feel like that's what the representation here is okay, I have your memories on display, and now I'm going to force your hand this way, I'm going to force your hand that way, and I'm coming out whether you like it or not.
I know he didn't say anything, but it felt personal.
It did.
It did. It felt like he
It's
had this
a
look in his
business.
face.
It's personal.
He's like, you little fucks got away from me.
It's
he's still chasing him after 10 years.
I
Are we
guess
just
it is a decade, huh?
Yeah.
Are we just assuming Tiny Tim is their sleep paralysis demon? That's it.
They said in one of the first or the second one that he's literally a demon. I think it's a demon. Yeah.
You know what would have been sick? If
He's
it was,
never
if it was
never
the dad.
been of earthly presence. So he is a
Life.
demon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wants nothing more than to have life. Whereas the old lady, they call her a parasite.
Yeah.
But also she is a ghost. She's a ghost of a dead man. And then they have other the ones that crawl out of the vents and shit.
Yeah.
Those are just regular ghouls.
No, but you know what
That's
I
when
thought?
video game logic starts
Yeah.
coming. These are the guys I
Low
beat
tier,
up.
yeah.
But
While
did
on
you
the way
like
to the
that they
on the
were
way to Tiny Tim.
The one girl looked like she was a performer. I'm is
Yeah,
she
yeah.
part of the
The
liberal arts
contortionist.
school? Are these ghosts from the college?
That's the thing is, I think they do have some logic in these movies where the ghosts are related to where they are where they died.
Yes.
The old lady ghost that happened. Something happened in that house.
Yeah. I will say this,
There's
though.
the family. There's a vignette of a girl who shoots her family.
They keep the continuity of
Yeah.
the logistics of this astral
There's
projection
the
world.
kid who died from binge drinking.
I think
will-
that's frat hazing. The war on fraternities, Nick.
Yeah,
I will say
it's a bastion of men.
it was interesting. How do I put
Which
it?
one? What are you looking at right now?
I'm gonna pull them up. Don't worry.
2?
Um,
Damn, these numbers suck.
yeah, they do. They're not great. I was gonna say this, that it's one of those movies that while I'm watching it, it's they're going through all of the stuff I want to see in an Insidious movie with these characters and like these monsters pretty much, but it doesn't have any feeling or meaning because there's no time or tension built up at all.
I also feel like just getting to the pacing of it, there was quite a few instances where if they just had some snappier cuts in the edit, the action would have been so much better.
Yeah.
And I can't give like a concrete example, but there was like a lot of things that Patrick Wilson was doing where they were just holding on him for so long.
Yeah. No, I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's what made the movie feel so sluggish in parts.
It was also my showing was at 11:20 and they were like, you'll get out of here by 1:30. I'm like, how the fuck? I mean, obviously there's trailers and stuff, but it's like, how is this a 2-hour movie? This should be.
Did you see the post-credit scene?
No,
I didn't stay for it.
Did
but
not know
apparently there was one.
Well, let's pull it up.
All right. So the first Insidious came out in 2010. Critic score 66%, audience score 62%.
That's shocking to me that this is not higher.
Is it?
I feel like this should, like, at least the audience score, I feel like this should be around
I feel
75.
like I think the audience score should be higher on this, but the critic score makes total sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Insidious Chapter 2, these are way lower than I expected. I remember it not being as good as the first one, like overall, but it's a very solid companion piece.
The concepts too, like the fact that it does tie into the first one. To me, I always remembered this one. I was like, this one's even better than the first one because they play with that time.
Yeah, there's a shot in the second one where he has the dice. The dice tells you, and it says what, and he asks, "What's behind your back?" And he says, "Why don't you ask the dice?" And he throws it down, and it says knife, and then he goes to try and kill it. Does he kill that guy?
You think he does, but he was. That's Carl. That's the guy we see in this movie.
Yeah.
But also there were a lot of weird. I think it was the second one where they're fumbling around with flashlights in the house, and it's like, oh, you go look at. I guess it had to be. He's not in the coma in the second one, so it was the first one. Anyway, like they're fumbling around with flashlights and doing fuck all.
Yeah,
and it's like we're just padding the runtime right now.
Yeah. All right, Insidious Chapter 3. Critics had this one at 57, and audience had this at 51. Makes sense. Did you see the third one?
No, I haven't seen 3 or 4.
Third one is basically this girl dude, it is the craziest of this one's directed by Lee Winnell too. It's the first movie Lee Winnell ever directed. This movie starts with a girl who is going to performing school. She wants to become an actress, right? And she's like a dancer and shit. Out of nowhere. I'll never forget the feeling I had in theater. This bitch gets hit by a car so hard and out of nowhere, and the way that they
paralyzed
frame
after that?
I don't think she's paralyzed. I believe that she's just like her legs are just broken, which would like they hit her hard. Like, so I'd be surprised if it was just her legs, but movie logic, just her legs. So the way that they played with your expectations and the tension then is that she can't move at all. She's just bedridden.
Oh, I
or
remember
she's in
that.
a wheelchair.
Yeah, she's trapped.
Yeah, and everything happens around her.
That's
and it
cool.
was a different story. Like there was a.
But it's still focused around Elise.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Elise, I forget.
Elise, I think her name is. And then this one I have not seen at all. I have not seen this one at all. I've read some reviews and I've read some breakdowns that say this one somehow ties into the first 3 really well.
Interesting.
It's interesting how they do that, how they keep tying into things. But I mean, this one was also written by Lee Winnell, so it would make sense. This is the first one, the newest one that is not written by Lee Winnell. Let's pull it up. Insidious: The Red Door.
Now, this is surprising to me that this is so much higher than everything else. I guess with time, it'll probably
that's
sink
the thing.
down.
Remember, Insidious when it came out, it won a lot of horror fans over. Remember, we always say horror exists in its own little, you know what I mean? So the past 10 years, have you ever seen Insidious? We should watch Insidious in my house. You guys you got to check out this. You know what I mean?
Can I say
that theater was fucking packed today, and this movie doubled its budget on its opening weekend.
This score has gone up since we started. It was at a 36 and a 68.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gone up.
Damn.
Let's see what the top.
I was reading through some of the critics reviews, and they were brutal. Even the ones that were positive were brutal.
Yeah. Because ultimately, like, that's what I said. I don't think this is a great movie, a good movie by any means. Like, I think this is a bad movie. But like,
that's where I would
as
draw
far
the
as
line.
the final chapter in the land, like, it does everything I expected it to do. It just doesn't do it as well, like not even close to as well as the first two. I don't think.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. It's the weight of expectations, and it's sad because the first two are good, but let's be honest, they're not great. They're not like they're not. I think Insidious has its place in the horror movie genre. I think it's up there as one of the top ones.
I don't even know if it would be B. I would say bottom tier of like mainline because like
fair enough that works too. That they can coexist. There's a Venn diagram.
That gray area.
Yeah, there's that gray area. I would absolutely. But I would not ever point to this as one of the greats. I would be like, you should check out The Conjuring. Oh, you like that? You should try his other movie, his first movies, Insidious. Oh, you like that? You ever seen Malignant?
I might have to rewatch the Conjuring movies, but to me, the reason I gravitated towards Insidious is because they're inventive. Whereas The Conjuring always felt like, here's another possession movie. It's like we've seen this shit before.
Yeah, but I think the biggest difference between the Insidious movies is how much better The Conjuring grounds its story between its characters and the relationships that they have. Whereas this movie is words are just spaces between the characters.
That's an interesting quote right there.
And you can't even get. And the other thing is that at least with like 3, if I were to bring in Insidious 3 real quick, that movie at least moves from sequence to sequence.
Right.
And even though it doesn't do too much on the characters, it was a change of direction. But it wasn't like a total departure from the world of Insidious, but it still moved. It
was an evolution.
Yes, but it still moved. This motherfucker never moves until like 45 to 50 minutes into it, and then it moves way too fast. They're throwing everything at you.
This kind of felt like similar to Indiana Jones, where everything happened in the last half hour.
Yes, exactly. But it's not like the culmination of things or payoffs. Right. It's like here's all
starts a half an hour.
Like the stuff I cared about, like for them going to the further and seeing Tiny Tim and like meeting all the ghosts and battling whoever. I thought I thought the woman in black would show up at some point.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna do all that.
Yeah,
it was surprisingly restrained. For like the farewell tour. You know what I mean?
I think this could have been 20 minutes longer. I think if we had either fleshed out like the dad storyline. I
think the first 30 minutes could have been rewritten. That's what I think.
Well, yeah, I mean that too. But I think
to sit through 20 more minutes of this.
I do want you to sit through 20 more minutes of this because I'd rather watch a longer horror film that's like immaculate with like great storylines.
20 minutes of runtime wasn't going to fix this.
I would agree about adding 20 more minutes in. Is if we took all of what is in there and really tighten it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're adding 20 minutes, but it's also 20 minutes shorter. So it's exactly the same length, but just with better editing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the last scene of the movie.
Bullshit.
What's the deal with Elise?
I think, is down from heaven.
I guess.
At the end of the second one, I guess, like they talk about Elise came back to the further to help.
Yeah.
She's already passed on to the great beyond. She came back to help. So I think her being on Earth is like her coming down as not a soul trapped between worlds. She's gone.
She's an angel. You're saying she's an angel.
She is an angel. And also at the end of the second one there is like a post-credit type scene.
Holy shit.
What?
I did not know this.
What?
After the end credits have rolled, to an evocative cover of the Shakespeare Sisters gothic classic Stay by the Swedish metal band Ghost, featuring vocals from Patrick Wilson himself. I thought that was him singing.
I didn't even pick up on
he was
that.
singing. So he fucking sang with Ghost in the last.
All right, well,
that's cool as fuck. Viewers get one last glimpse of the titular red door. The light above it begins to flicker, hinting that the portal to the further is not quite as sealed as we thought. However, while this brief stinger definitely teases more future installments of the series, the franchise producer Jason Blum has definitively stated that this is the end of the road for the Lamberts. Yeah, bro, because
Lambert.
they're not trying to pay, what's it called?
Patrick Wilson.
They're not trying to pay Patrick Wilson all this money.
Rose Byrne.
To give you more of a serious answer, he's going to the last, this is the last we're going to see of Insidious for a while. It may not be the forever rest, but it's certainly going to rest for a very long time. So if anyone comes up with an idea in 10 years, who knows? But that's not the plan. As there have been every prior Insidious movie, there's no current plan in place for number 6.
Okay.
I think we'll see how much this makes. And then
At the end of part 2, there's, I don't know if it's a post-credit scene, but it's at the end, where the two guys, Specs and Tucker, show up at a house, and this family needs help. We're here to help. And then Elise shows up. She's a ghost, and like one of the little daughters like, oh, who's the woman behind you? And nobody can see her except for the kid. And it's Elise, and now she's doing paranormal shit from beyond the grave. So I think this end credit scene, or the pre-credit scene,
the final scene in the film.
she's still wandering the earth as a force of good.
Yes. Yeah.
She's wearing all white and pastel blue, so she's good.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the wardrobe change for Dalton, where he goes from wearing all black and like denim dark colors, and then the final scene when he hangs up that portrait, he's
Looking like
wearing
a dandy.
he's wearing a white button down with
you're
like
right.
pastel colors.
And it was like buttoned all the way
And
up
I
to
know-
the top.
And there's
Yeah.
this idea of possession where when you're being possessed or under the influence of possession or whatever, you wear darker clothing. And then when that finally breaks, you actually start to wear lighter clothing and stop being so depressive. So it would make sense.
Sure.
He
It
also
was-
could just be a weird kid.
Yeah, he could just be an art school kid.
Yeah.
He also could just like the color black.
He his outfit when he first got to college and he had the flannel wrapped around his waist, I was like, that's a good look there.
I like that outfit.
Yeah.
I like those baggy ripped up jeans with that flannel and that muscle tee.
All right. Is there anything
looking
else?
good there, Dalton.
Is there anything else that we have to cover? Because I don't have anything else to say. I really don't think there's anything I'm missing as far as like story wise. I mean, there's like little things I could point out, like how like Dalton's cage in the further is just a pile of chairs that has an opening for him to conveniently be pulled out of.
Well, he's shackled. So.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it didn't, but like the shackle was loose and somebody pulled him out of it, which means the shackle wasn't under the the cage of chairs to be kept in. Like it's there's stuff
more
like
of
that.
a metaphorical cage.
Yeah, I don't know. There's I don't know. It's like I said. I
want to see a
don't know
Tiny
if to
Tim
finish it.
movie.
Like how did he get
the
here?
demon.
Why is he a lizard now? Like why has he got lizard skin?
Because he's old now.
Oh, okay. That sells
No
that for me.
skincare. All right. Well, like I said, I'll just cap it off with.
Clip
If
of the
you
week.
haven't seen Insidious, the other Insidious movies, at least the first 2, you don't need to see this. There's nothing here for you. This does nothing new. This does, even like Evil Dead Rise, is that the one that we just saw? That one did nothing new, but all the shit that it did really fucking well and effectively, and that's why we really liked that movie. Whereas this movie, I felt like just bored the fuck out of me until the last 45 minutes, and then I wished that was the movie I saw. So, yeah, I guess time for clip of the week.
Oh yeah, it's the clip of the week. Oh, it's the clip of the week. It's the clip of the week.
The theme song never gets old.
Yeah. You ready, Nick? I wrote this one for you.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Let's do it.
Oh, Jinx.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Pancaked by drunk dump truck driver.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, let's.
This guy, you could, just the way he's driving already, you can tell he's under the influence.
Mm-hmm. So this guy's making a left-hand turn. He gets whaled by a
Two trucks.
Well, the
Oh.
first truck's kind of like a dump truck. He nails him on and then the other truck that he pushes him into is a proper 18-wheeler, and then those two
Dude.
trucks basically explode upon impact.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, dude, this is like that guy that got attacked by 2 sharks at once. Like, he's just unlucky.
That car is a pancake.
Boosh.
God.
Yeah, where is the car?
It's
Even
got-
the front of the
That's
truck
it,
is.
dude. That's it. All the pieces on the ground. That's
It's
the
gotta
No, that
be.
came out of the dump truck.
It's got to be under whatever that white, if that's part
Tarp?
of the truck or.
Yeah, let's see. Let's
canvas.
try to follow the car.
Okay.
All right, real slow here.
Oh, he's under.
There it is. There it is. See it? There, that little piece
Oh, this right here.
below it. Pull it back.
This
a couple
right here?
frames. Yeah. See, there's like the front, the
Oh,
fucking.
yeah.
Oh.
So then when it turns, it's just kind of
It's just
nothing
gone.
though. Yeah.
Damn.
God damn.
Yikes.
You got a story with this one?
No. This has been on the internet for quite some time.
Imagine
Man.
being the guy that caught this on the dash cam, being like,
Holy
"I
shit.
just watched somebody die."
Yeah, really, dude. Not just get die, be obliterated,
Yeah.
pulverized.
This
Is
is
the way
he
to put
basically got the fucking submarine treatment.
it. All right. The submarine treatment.
Yeah, he-
Implosion.
Yeah, he was flattened.
All right. Actually, it's funny that you bring that up. Did you hear that they got the last like text messages from them?
No,
For 20 minutes they had an emergency. They knew.
they knew what was bad.
Well, they were
Wow.
descending way too fast, and now the going theory is that a pinhole, like size of a pinhole of water, got into the compartment behind them and started fucking with all their electronics and stuff, and that took on all the water too. So that was making them sink way too
Right.
fast. And then for as fast as they were sinking, even though they released like their ballast and like the foot things and like whatever, they couldn't get up
Any height,
fast
yeah.
enough because they weighed too much because there was water in the compartments. That's the going theory.
and
though.
they have text messages like, "Oh fuck, oh fuck."
No. It's procedural and everything, but they do get more and more desperate as time goes on. And the whole event took place over 20 minutes.
Holy
And the
shit.
last text message that they received from the submersible was at 9:47 a.m. and they had launched at 8 a.m. So that was right around the time that they went missing. So, and they were descending way too fast. So,
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good note
so
to
with
leave it
that
on.
said, we will see you next week for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Nick is, I'm telling you, he's groaning right now, but he's gonna watch Ghost Protocol #1 and like it, and then I'm gonna tell him who it's directed by. He's gonna be like, no shit, and he's gonna be like, wow, I did not know that. I didn't know-
Robert Zemeckis.
You want to know who it is right now?
Sure.
Brad Bird, the guy who made the Incredibles movies.
Okay.
He did like a live action movie, and it's actually great.
I just have.
And then you're gonna want to watch Rogue Nation. You're gonna be like, wow, that was great too. And then you're gonna watch Fallout and be like, that's one of the greatest action movies I've ever seen in my life.
Did you see that the score for the new one went up? It
Mm-hmm.
was at a 98, and everybody was like, "Well, the score's gonna come down, like as more reviews come out," and it's gone up to 99. It's like, holy fuck,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
this is gonna be a good
I
movie.
know it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
just don't know
And
if I'm gonna
all of
squeeze
them,
them in.
all of them are. If this one's the best one, all of them are in that like 90 percentile.
Yeah.
They're all
Nick,
good.
I've only
so-
seen one of them.
Which
Wait,
one?
you haven't seen Ghost Protocol?
What's the one with Henry Cavill?
Oh, we got 2 Mission Impossible movies to watch in this house tonight. All right. Well, with that said, we'll see you next week for Mission Impossible. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.